Here is everything you need to know about the new Megaraptor and how to tame it and all of its abilities. So, start out where it spawns. It can spawn across the entire map. I've mostly noticed it in like more jungly grassland areas and not really in the snow, but it can basically spawn anywhere on the map. To tame it, first you need to find this little blood totem that it always spawns with a Megaraptor, and usually you'll find it around a Megaraptor. Anyways, you have to go up to the altar with a torch and initiate a minigame to tame it. So when you start out, you go up to it. So when you initiate the minigame, your screen will go all black and smoky, and it'll say exit and the torpidity, and you'll have a little hunted symbol in the bottom right. And what you do now is you have to hold out the torch and wait for it to attack you, and you have to hit it before it hits you. If you hit it correctly and get it in time, its torpidity will go up and it'll back away. If not, it'll hit you and you'll take damage and it'll back away again. And then it's just rinse and repeat until you have it tamed. I have noticed that the higher quality torch you have, the more torpidity it does, and also the more melee damage you have leveled into your character, also the more damage it does. The most optimal way to do this is to get a really strong ascendant torch and then stack a bunch of damage buffs on your character. That would be the quickest way to tame it. I've also noticed that during the taming process, it tends to appear behind you no matter which way you look. I don't know if that was just a coincidence and something I experienced, but it always seemed to appear behind me no matter which direction I was looking at. And it will only spawn either to your left or your right. Once it's knocked out, it's just a normal taming process. It likes exceptional kibble the best, but obviously muttons and prime meat work just as well. It's not different in that regard. So next are all of its abilities, and it has a pretty wide variety of a moveset. So to start off, it has a left click, just straight melee with its talons, but it also has a finisher in quotes move where it does a big slash that does slightly more damage and bleed. And you can only initiate this attack after hitting twice with it at bare minimum. You can initiate it anytime after 2 normal melees. I have noticed that it is pretty inconsistent with hitting larger creatures, and I'm not sure if this is a glitch or if it's intended to only be used on smaller creatures. Another thing that it has is it is a solitary predator, so it has a bunch of different buffs when you are alone. So first off, you have a special shield, which when a recently damaged target dies, you have a little bit of a shield, so when that first hit, it's almost like a first hit damage negation. When you're by yourself, you get the solitary hunter buff, which you deal more damage and take less damage, and that only appears when you're away from other Megaraptors. This passive goes away if you're near other Megaraptors, and then this other ability, Isolator, means solitary things. That means there is any creature of the same type around it. It will do more damage to it. So the next thing it has, for a larger theropod, it actually doesn't just have a jump, it has a double jump, and the second jump is actually directional, so you can completely switch the way you're facing by doing it. Another cool thing this thing has is a hunt mode, which it will track a single target and tell you if they're isolated or not, how far away they are, and its health bar. If it's green, then obviously they're full health, yellow's mid, and red is low health. Another thing they have that is really cool is they have omnidirectional movement, so they can strafe side to side and backwards if need be, and by hitting caps lock for me, you can sort of spin in place the way a Deinosuchus can do that. Deinosuchus, not Deinosuchus, Dinopithecus. Neither of those. It's the Dinotherium that can do that. The next thing it has is this camo mode, which is a bit like its own ghillie suit. It gives you the creepy camouflage buff, where if you're camouflaged, where it'll basically make it much harder for creatures to aggro onto you. It's not full invisibility like the rock drake has, but it will make it so creatures that will normally aggro on like farther away, you basically have to touch them for them to aggro on. So it's very good for sneaking up on targets. And you'll know you have it active when you have that little black circle around your crosshair. And the last main ability that it has is the pounce, which whenever you're in the air, you sort of dive back down, do a big dive bomb, does some decent damage, and I did notice that it does stun smaller targets. This pairs well with the double jump. It does have a decently long cooldown though. And the final thing it has is just a nice little cosmetic grower. It doesn't do anything, but it does make it look badass. And the last thing with this creature is because of its isolated buff, it doesn't have a mate boost, which is very interesting because most creatures like this have a mate boost. Almost every creature in the game has a mate boost, but this one. So it actually is weaker when there's more than one of it around. They can still breathe and everything like normal, but it's just, you don't get any benefits. You can't really make an army of them because they'll all be weaker then. And that would be the Megaraptor. Have fun taming them.